Hello and welcome to Jane Doe's Dark Secrets, the true crime podcast where we delve into the most chilling and mysterious cases from around the world. I am your host Jane, and each week join me as we uncover the truth behind these gripping stories, explore the minds of those who commit heinous acts, and seek justice for the victims. Today we delve into the dark side of the most magical place on earth, Disney World in Florida. While Disney World is renowned for its enchanting atmosphere and joyful experiences, it also harbours a history of dark secrets and horrific incidences, including tragic murders, sex crimes, attraction ride accidents, and hacking into Disney World systems to cause harm to hundreds of innocent lives. So join me as we explore these unsettling stories that lurk behind the fairy tales, revealing the shadows that cast over this iconic destination. Prepare yourself for a journey into the darker corners of Disney World, where magic meets mystery and reality can be more terrifying than fiction. So a background into Disney World. Walt Disney World is a sprawling entertainment complex in Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista, Florida. It was envisioned by Walt Disney himself, but sadly he passed away in 1966 before seeing his dream come true. The resort officially opened on October 1st, 1971, with Magic Kingdom as its first theme park. Over the years, Disney World has expanded to include 3 more major theme parks. Epcot, which opened on the 1st of October 1982. This park celebrates human achievement, technology and international culture. Then you have Disney's Hollywood Studios, which opened the 1st of May 1989. It offers behind the scenes look at Hollywood style action and entertainment. Then you have Disney's Animal Kingdom, opened on the 22nd of April 1998. This park is dedicated to nature conservation, featuring a variety of animal exhibits and themed attractions. In addition to these 4 parks, Walt Disney World also includes 2 water parks, numerous hotels, golf courses, and other recreational facilities, making it a premier vacation destination for millions of visitors each year. But as of October 2022, there have been a total of 63 reported deaths at Disney World from 60 separate incidents. These fatalities include both guests and park employees and have occurred due to various causes such as natural causes, accidents, suicide, and murder. So let's start by discussing a horrific murder on the Disney World property. The Tote family murders are a tragic and chilling case that took place in Celebration, Florida. It's a community developed by the Walt Disney Company in December 2019. Anthony Tote is a physical therapist, and he confessed to the murders of his wife Megan and their 3 children, Alec, who was 13, Tyler, who was 11, and Zoe, who was 4. And he also murdered the family dog, Breezy. So Anthony Tote's background is a troubled history. His father, Robert Tote, was convicted in 1980 for hiring a former student to kill his wife, Loretta Tote, when Anthony was just 4 years old. Loretta survived the attack, but the incident left a lasting impact on Anthony. Despite his dark past, Anthony seemed to build a successful life. He married Megan, a physical therapist and yoga instructor, and they ran a physical therapy clinic together. The family moved to Celebration, Florida in 2017, where Anthony continued to work in Connecticut, visiting his family weekly. The investigation into the Tote family murders began when federal agents and local police arrived at the Tote home to serve a warrant related to healthcare fraud charges against Anthony. Upon entering the home, they discovered the decomposing bodies of Megan, Alec, Tyler, Zoe, and Breezy. Anthony initially claimed that his wife had poisoned the children and herself, but he later confessed to the murders. The community of Celebration in Florida was shocked and devastated by the news of the murders. The Tote family had been relatively withdrawn and uninvolved with their neighbours, which made the discovery even more surprising. The case gained significant media attention and many people expressed their sorrow and disbelief at the tragic events. The community struggled to reconcile the idyllic image of celebration with the horrific reality of the Todd family murders. Anthony Todd was convicted of the murders in 2022 and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The jury was told sometime between December 14th, 2019 and Christmas in 2019, Anthony went into Zoe Todd's room while she was asleep. He took time to sit with her and then he rolled over on top of her until she suffocated. The prosecution also told the jury that he suffocated, then stabbed to death his 13-year-old son, Alex, 10-year-old son, Tyler, then his wife, and then the family dog. Investigators said he drugged his family before killing them, and the deputies believe that Anthony lived alongside his family's bodies for weeks. Anthony's sister started calling the investigators in December 2019 and January 2020 for wellbeing checks. She kept calling until the bodies were found inside the home on January 13th of 2020. This case remains a haunting reminder of the hidden darkness that can exist behind the closed doors. Now I'll discuss the murder of Deborah McCartney in 1973. Deborah Gail McCartney was a 20-year-old Disney World employee who was tragically murdered on September 27, 1973. Deborah worked at Disney's Contemporary Resorts and had a promising future ahead of her. She was engaged and had a lovely family. On the day of her disappearance, Deborah was last seen running an errand at work. Her body was later found 3 days later in a drainage ditch off Bass Road near Kissimmee in Florida. She had been strangled to death and sexually assaulted. Deborah was found partially clad with her hands bound behind her back with wire and her knees tied to her neck. The brutal nature of the crime shocked the community and garnered national attention. The investigation into Deborah's murder was extensive. Several Disney World employees were interrogated, and the case remained a high priority for law enforcement. On the 15th of March 1974, Floyd Price, who was a welder, was arrested and charged with her murder. Price had a history of violent behaviour and he was currently out on bail for a rape charge at the time of Deborah's murder. Price pled not guilty on the 27th of March 1974 on the basis of the reports from a psychiatric examination, and the state court found Price incompetent to stand trial and committed him to the Florida State Mental Health Hospital, where he remained until the 12th of March 1976. 2 years after Price was committed, a judge then deemed Price competent to stand trial, and on the 4th of May 1976, Price entered a guilty plea to first-degree murder to avoid the death penalty, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years. I couldn't find anything about Price's whereabouts now or if he's still alive. The murder of Deborah McCartney left a lasting impact for her family and the community. Her family continued to fight to keep her killer behind bars, opposing any attempts at parole. The case also highlighted the need for improved safety measures and awareness at Disney World and other large employers. Deborah's memory lives on through the efforts of her family and the community to seek her justice and ensure such a tragedy does not happen again. Okay, I'll now discuss the tragic death of Lane Graves. On the 14th of June 2016, the tragic incident involving a young boy and an alligator at Disney World occurred. Lane Graves, who was a 2-year-old from Elkhorn, Nebraska, was vacationing with his family at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. While playing near the edge of the Seven Seas Lagoon, Lane was suddenly grabbed by an alligator and pulled underwater. Lane's father, Matt Graves, heroically tried to rescue his son, suffering lacerations on his hands in the process, but he was unable to save him. A frantic 16-hour search ensued involving local authorities and wildlife officials. Sadly, Lane's body was recovered the next day, fully intact just yards away from where the attack had occurred. His autopsy confirmed that Lane died from drowning and traumatic injuries caused by the alligator. Following his tragic death in 2016, Disney World implemented several safety measures to prevent similar incidents and enhance guest safety around the water. So they increased their signage, so Disney installed more prominent and clear warning signs around all bodies of water, explicitly stating the presence of alligators and the dangers of entering the water. They made physical barriers, including fences and rocks, which were added around the edges of the water to deter guests from approaching it. Disney increased the frequency of wildlife monitoring and management around the resort. This includes regular inspections and removals of alligators from areas frequented by guests. Disney began providing more information to guests about the potential dangers of wildlife in the area, including the alligators, and advised them to stay away from the water. They restricted access to certain areas near water, especially during nighttime when alligator activity is more likely. These measures were part of Disney's commitment to ensure the safety and well-being of all guests while maintaining the magical experience the resorts are known for. In memory of Lane, a lighthouse sculpture was placed at the resort, and his parents established the Lane Thomas Foundation to support families with children in need of organ transplants. Discussing my own personal experience as well, I have seen alligators at the Disney resorts recently as of 2023, and I was running at a Disney resort and I was followed by a coyote as well. So I know you can't always stop these animals coming in, it's their home, but it is quite scary, especially being from England where we don't have those animals. Okay, I am going to now discuss sex offences, so trigger warning. Over the 50 plus years, several Disney World employees have been convicted of sex offences. A notable investigation by CNN in 2014 revealed that at least 35 Disney employees had been arrested for sex crimes involving children, attempting to meet minors for sex, and possession of child abuse imagery over the previous 8 years. Additionally, in 2022, there was a human trafficking sting operation in Florida, and 4 Disney employees were among the 108 people to be arrested. So I will now describe 2 Disney employees who were both dressed as Tigger committing offences. In April 2004, Disney cast member Michael Chartrand was arrested for allegedly fondling a 13-year-old girl and her mother while dressed as Tigger during a photo shoot opportunity at the Magic Kingdom park. Chartrand, who was 36 at the time, faced charges of lewd and molestation of a child between the ages of 12 and 15 years old, and 1 count of simple battery. During the trial, Chartrand's defence attorney, Jeffrey Kaufman, donned a Tigger costume in the courtroom to demonstrate how difficult it is to manoeuvre and see in the outfit. Chartrand testified that he did not remember the girl and denied ever touching anyone inappropriately while working in a costumed character. He also mentioned that he wrote a letter of apology to the girl at the request from a detective despite not recalling the incident. The jury deliberated for less than an hour before acquitting Chartrand of all charges he faced, up to 15 years in prison if he was convicted. After the acquittal, Chartrand returned to work at Disney World. On January the 5th, 2007, a 14-year-old boy, who I will just call Jerry, from Greenville in New Hampshire, was allegedly punched in the head by a Disney cast member dressed as Tigger during another photo opportunity, but this time it was at Disney Hollywood Studios. The incident was captured on the family's video camera, showing Tigger, played by Michael J. Federman, appeared to strike Jerry in the face. Federman claimed that he acted in self-defense, stating that Jerry was pulling on the back of his costume, causing him to lose his breath. The family demanded an apology from the actor and Disney, but Federman was suspended pending the investigation. Jerry Kaufman, the lawyer who represented Michael Chartrand in the earlier Tigger case, a point that Jerry had instigated the situation and that Fedlam's movements were involuntary reaction to his pain. However, Kaufman was not actually representing him at the time. On February 15, 2007, the State Attorney General's office announced that no charges would be filed against Fedlam. Following these incidents, Disney implemented several changes to enhance the guest safety and prevent similar occurrences. Disney increased the training for cast members, particularly those in costume roles, to ensure they understand appropriate behaviour and how to handle interactions with guests. Disney introduced more stringent supervision and monitoring of cast members, especially those in costumes, to quickly address any inappropriate behaviour. Disney established clearer guidelines and protocols for cast members on how to interact with guests, including specific instructions on avoiding physical contact. Disney improved its guest feedback mechanisms, making it easier for guests to report any inappropriate behaviour or incidences involving cast members. Okay, so now I will detail the 2022 human trafficking sting that I mentioned earlier. It was called Operation March Sadness 2. In March 2022, the Polk County Sheriff's Office conducted a 6-day undercover human trafficking operation. They called it Operation March Sadness 2. The operation aimed to identify and arrest individuals involved in human trafficking, child predators, and those seeking sex workers. Just a quick side note, please look up the Polk County Sheriff on TikTok, as he is a character. During the sting operation, detectives identified adults inappropriately trying to communicate with children online. Undercover detectives then communicated with these suspects before meeting them at a location and arresting them. So we'll talk about the 4 Disney employees that were arrested. So Ralph Leese was 45. He worked in IT for Disney for nearly 4 years, and he was arrested for attempting to solicit a sex worker. Shubham Maliv was 27, a software developer for Disney. He was on visa from India, and he was also arrested for the same offence, as was Wilkeson Fidel, who was 24. He worked at the Cosmic Restaurant at Walt Disney World's Tomorrowland in the Magic Kingdom. And then Xavier Jackson, 27, who was a lifeguard at Disney's Polynesian Resort. Jackson sent inappropriate photos and messages to undercover detectives posing as 14-year-old girls. He was charged with 3 counts of transmitting harmful material to a minor and 1 count of unlawful communication. This operation highlighted the dangers of human trafficking and the importance of law enforcement's efforts to protect the vulnerable individuals. Disney placed the arrested employees on unpaid leave and reiterated its commitment to the guests' and employee safety. The long-term impacts of Disney's actions following the 2022 human trafficking sting have been significant in enhancing safety and security measures across their properties. So here are some key areas where these changes have had lasting effects. So Disney's increased collaboration with law enforcement and using more robust surveillance systems had led to a safer environment for both guests and employees. Disney has also strengthened background check procedures, and employees are now better equipped to recognise and report suspicious behaviour, contributing to a safer and more secure environment. Disney's efforts to educate guests about safety protocols and the importance of reporting suspicious activities have fostered a culture of awareness and vigilance. This proactive approach helps prevent potential threats and ensures that guests feel secure during their visit. By taking swift and decisive action in response to the sting operation, Disney has demonstrated its commitment to maintaining a safe and friendly environment. The introduction of new safety initiatives and the revision of existing policies have created a more comprehensive framework for addressing security concerns. These changes ensure that Disney remains proactive in identifying and mitigating potential risks. However, we are now going to talk about some ride attraction tragedies, and that some of these probably could have been risk assessed and prevented. The first is the tragic death of Karen Price. On November the 27th, 2007, Karen Price was a 63-year-old Disney World cast member. She was involved in a tragic accident whilst working on the Primeval Well ride at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Price was performing maintenance on an elevated rider loading platform when she was struck by one of the roller coaster vehicles. She sustained severe injuries and was taken to hospital, where she died 5 days later on the 2nd of December 2007. Following her death, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration conducted an investigation and found that Disney had violated safety protocols. As a result, Disney was fined $21,000 for safety violations. The investigation highlighted the need for improved safety measures to protect employees working on and around ride vehicles. Disney then installed sensors on Primeval Well ride to detect the presence of employees in restricted areas and prevent ride vehicles from moving when maintenance work is being performed. Additional training programs were introduced for maintenance staff to ensure that they are aware of all the safety protocols and the risks associated with working on the ride platforms. And then finally, Disney renewed and updated its safety procedures for ride maintenance, including stricter guidelines for working in elevated and restricted areas. The monorail accident. On July 5, 2009, a collision between two monorail trains at Disney World resulted in the death of the 21-year-old monorail pilot, Austin Wennerberg. The accident occurred near the Ticket and Transportation Centre during a failed track switchover from the Epcot line to the Magic Kingdom Express line. Monorail Pink backed into Monorail Purple, killing Wennerberg and injuring 7 others. The National Transportation Safety Board found that the probable cause of the accident was the operator's failure to properly position the track switch, compounded by the monorail manager authorising the reverse movement of Monorail Pink without verifying the switch's position. This investigation revealed no mechanical problems with the trains or the track. In response, Disney placed 3 monorail employees on paid administrative leave and implemented new safety procedures, including enhancing sensors and operation protocols. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration proposed fines against Disney for safety violations again, which were later then reduced. So other Disney World park deaths include the tragic death of Xavier Cruz in 2004. On the 11th of February 2004, Xavier Cruz, a 38-year-old Disney World cast member, tragically lost his life while performing the Share a Dream Come True parade at the Magic Kingdom. Cruz, who had worked at Disney for 8 years, was dressed as Pluto when he was run over by the Beauty and the Beast float. The accident occurred in a backstage area near what was Splash Mountain, where floats and performers line up before entering the parade route. Cruz was about to step onto the parade route when he was struck by the float. According to reports, he tripped and fell in front of the float and there wasn't enough time for him to move out the way. Disney representatives stated that very few, if any, guests had witnessed the incident, as it happened in a restricted area not visible to the public. The Orange County Sheriff's Office investigated the incident and determined it to be accidental. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration fined Disney $6,300 for having employees in restricted areas. This fine was part of a broader effort to ensure that safety protocols were followed to prevent such tragic accidents in the future. In response to the incident, Disney reviewed and enhanced its safety procedures for parades and other performers, which included cast members receiving additional training on safety protocols, especially those involved with parades and performances. They increased the supervision and monitoring of parade routes and staging areas to ensure that all safety measures were strictly followed. And finally, they implemented additional safety equipment and barriers to protect performers and prevent similar accidents. Xavier Cruz's death was heartbreaking and a reminder of the risks faced by performers and the importance of safety measures. His memory lives on through the efforts of improved safety to protect staff members at Disney World. The tragic death of Christopher Maguire. on August 15th, 2010. He was a 30-year-old performer in the Festival of the Lion King show at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Christopher was found in a backstage area and his death was ruled a suicide. The incident brought attention to the mental health challenges faced by performers and the importance of support systems in high-pressure environments. Unfortunately, there isn't much information on Christopher, but from what I read, he did hang himself. On September the 12th, 1992, Alan J. Ferris, a 37-year-old from Rochester, New York, entered Epcot after the park had closed. He was armed with a shotgun and demanded to see his ex-girlfriend who worked at the park. Ferris fired 4 shots at security guards and took 2 guards hostage in a restroom near the Journey into Imagination Pavilion. As Orange County Sheriff's deputies surrounded the area, Ferris released the hostages and emerged with the shotgun held to his chest. After a brief exchange with deputies, he put the gun to his head and fired. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the Orlando Regional Medical Center. Investigators attribute his actions to a recent breakup with his long-term girlfriend. Ferris had been distraught over the end of their relationship and had previously attempted suicide. Again, this tragic incident underscored the severe emotional distress that can be followed at the end of a relationship and highlights the importance of mental health support. Okay, and finally we'll discuss one more case, and it's the most recent case and crime at Disney World. Last year, in 2024, a disturbing incident involving a former Disney World employee, Michael Scheuer, came to light. Scheuer, who had been fired in June of 2024 for alleged misconduct, was accused of hacking into Disney's menu system and tampering with the allergy information on food items. Michael Scheuer worked as a menu production manager at Disney World. He was responsible for creating and managing restaurant menus, including the digital versions. His termination was described as continuous and not amicable, which seemed to have triggered his subsequent actions. After being fired, Scheuer allegedly used his personal computer to hack into Disney's menu system, known as Menu Creator, which was owned by a third party. Over a period of 3 months, he made several unauthorized changes to the menu. Scheuer altered the allergen notifications, falsely indicating that certain menu items were safe for individuals who had peanut, tree nut, shellfish, and milk allergies. These changes had potential fatal consequences for guests with severe allergies. He added profanity to some of the menu items and changed the pricing of others. Scheuer altered QR codes on some of the menus to direct users to anti-Israel websites. He sent multiple login requests, preventing more than a dozen Disney employees from accessing their accounts and systems. Disney became aware of the issues with the menu software in July of 2024 and suspected Scheuer's involvement due to his detailed knowledge of the system. The company reset its passwords to prevent further intrusions and provided information to the FBI, leading to a search warrant being executed at Scheuer's home on September 23, 2024. Investigators found evidence tying him to the hacks, including a docs folder containing personal details of 14 Disney employees involved in his termination. Scheuer was charged with knowingly transmitting a program, information, code, command, intentionally causing damage without authorization to a protected computer, and aggravated identity theft. He pleaded guilty to the charges in January of 2025. As a part of his plea agreement, Scheuer admitted to hacking into the Disney menu system and altering allergen information, which could have had fatal consequences for the guests. Scheuer's plea agreement included a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison for the computer fraud charge and a mandatory minimum of 2 years for the aggravated identity theft charge. Additionally, he agreed to pay restitution to Disney and other victims affected by his actions. The court also considered his mental health issues, which were exacerbated by his termination from Disney. Scheuer's sentencing is scheduled for later this year, where the judge will determine the final length of his prison term based on the plea agreement and other factors. In response to this incident, Disney implemented several measures to enhance cybersecurity and prevent similar occurrences in the future. Disney strengthened its cybersecurity protocols, including more robust password management and monitoring systems. The company increased training for employees on cybersecurity awareness and the importance of safeguarding sensitive information. Disney began conducting regular audits of its systems to detect and address any vulnerabilities. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the importance of cybersecurity and the potential risk posed by disgruntled employees. As we conclude this episode, we've journeyed through some of the most tragic and unsettling events that have occurred at Disney World. From the heartbreaking deaths to the shocking crimes committed by those entrusted with the magic, these stories remind us that even in the most enchanting places, darkness can sometimes cast a shadow. However, it is important to remember that these incidents, whilst deeply tragic, are rare exceptions in the vast history of Disney World. Millions of visitors from around the globe continue to experience the joy, wonder, and magic that Disney World offers every day. The park's commitment to safety and the well-being of its guests and employees has only strengthened over the years, ensuring as it remains a beloved destination for family and friends. Disney World continues to be a place where dreams come true, where the spirit of adventure and imagination thrives, and where the countless memories are made. As we reflect on these stories, let's also celebrate the resilience and dedication of those who work tirelessly to keep magic alive and ensure that Disney World remains a place of happiness and a wonder for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Disney World's dark secrets. If you found this episode compelling, please make sure to follow Jane Doe's Dark Secrets for more true crime stories that uncover hidden truths behind some of the world's most chilling cases. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram for updates and behind the scene content. Also, you can share your thoughts on today's episode, or head over to YouTube at Jane Doe's Dark Secrets for visuals alongside the podcast. Let me know in the comments what other dark secrets you'd like me to uncover for future episodes. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe. This is Jane signing off.